This lady just don't get it. This lady just can't get it. Stephanie White, have your team's back for a change. When are you gonna put your foot down and have the people in your locker rooms back? This dingbat of a coach is at the podium defending Djonai Carrington versus Sophie Cunningham. What is going on, man? Stephanie White, this lady is an agent. This lady is there to sabotage Caitlin Clark.
The instant Sophie Cunningham hit the floor, something went horribly wrong because what appeared to be just another intense WNBA moment swiftly developed into a scandal that no one anticipated. The irony, meanwhile, is that Carrington might not receive the most attention from the foul. This is where the narrative becomes quite bizarre.
Is a dirty player, probably the dirtiest player in the league, and then she has the audacity to go online right after her ejection and claim that she got ejected because of racism. She definitely learned well from Angel Reese. Whenever something goes against you, just pull out that race card. I think she's jealous of my natural blonde hair. She'll never have this hair. I literally got clotheslined in the air, and this clown has to turn it into race. Her level of IQ needs to be studied for generations. But anyways, it was an easy dub for us.
The instant Sophie Cunningham was knocked down, the game ceased to feel like a typical basketball match and instead appeared to be the most recent development in an ongoing conflict. Already, Djonai Carrington was performing with a level of intensity that made each possession seem intimate. However, everything was pushed over the brink by the collision with Cunningham.
WNBA is the gift that keeps on giving. The latest is a clothesline foul on Sophie Cunningham by Djonai Carrington, the woman that went on an incredibly racist rant against cab driver, and of course knocked the hell out of Caitlin Clark from behind her rookie year. But that's okay. I'm not mad at that kind of basketball. That's all good. But the problem is after. It was white privilege. White girl goes to the basket. African-American woman knocks her on her ass, clothesliner, knocks her down, upgraded to a flagrant 2.
Carrington was expelled when the administrators raised the interaction to a flagrant 2 after reviewing it. And the drama ought to have ended then, don't you think? Not at all. Carrington didn't just go into the locker room and wait for the debate to subside.
What's gonna happen? Sophie is not Caitlin Clark. Sophie is from the show me. She want all the smoke. Sophie say, pull up. She's ready for battle. And that's exactly what she said, man, in so many words. So if you guys don't know, Djonai Carrington was ejected from the game for literally giving Sophie Cunningham a clothesline from hell. She hit her with the Undertaker signature move. She down her flipped up and...
She uploaded a message from the locker room that instantly fueled an already contentious online discussion. Fans were analyzing every word she said, debating her meaning, and escalating the dispute beyond a single foul in a matter of minutes.
Djonai needs to be suspended, and not for the foul. I don't believe Djonai Carrington's foul was suspension worthy. I think it was flagrant 2 worthy, obviously flagrant 2 worthy. Based on the WNBA's really relaxed rules on suspensions. It isn't a suspension if it's in the NBA. Duh. Obviously, it's a suspension if it's in the NBA. But I'm sorry. In the WNBA, it is that's flagrant 2. The fact they called it flagrant 2 is shocking.
The responses followed. A few fans were incensed. Others were practically reveling in the altercation, cheering Carrington on and saw it as a victory over Cunningham. And that response revealed a much more significant aspect of the WNBA at the moment. A portion of the fan community has developed a strong interest in seeing specific players compete, particularly when Sophie Cunningham or Caitlin Clark are involved. However, this is the awkward part of the story. Carrington's most recent episode has struck such a nerve because of this. Fans aren't only debating whether or not the foul warranted an ejection. They want to know if the league has gotten to the point where ongoing disputes about physical play call for a more forceful response. Some are even advocating for Carrington to be suspended for more than 1 game. The most extreme responses call for her to be kicked out of the league completely.
Honest, I don't watch this garbage league, but I had to get in on the action after seeing that ejection. So I went all in on Kalshi for Indiana to win this game. I had some sweat coming out my cheeks at the end there. Don't make it that close again, buddy, or else I'm calling Enes Kanter to show you what's good. Thank you.
That's fine. I wouldn't watch this circus either. Literally, the only exciting thing about this league are the cat fights. Because we all know a middle school boy team can destroy any team in this league, especially when we got players who can't make wide open layups like Sid the Sloth. It truly is an embarrassment.
Naturally, there is a huge difference between wanting someone removed and the WNBA actually banning that individual. This is risky for the league too, since each time a new incident involving Cunningham or Clark goes viral on social media, the discussion shifts from basketball to whether the WNBA is doing enough to safeguard its top stars. The dispute might span the entire season, but the foul only lasted a few seconds, so Carrington might now find herself in the midst of that actual storm. And that's precisely where the narrative becomes even more intricate. Because Caitlin Clark's technical foul abruptly became a hot topic of conversation while everyone was debating Carrington's dismissal. It appeared as though Indiana may foul out for a split second. As a result, there were now two whole distinct disciplinary discussions around the same game rather than just one controversy. That contrast is crucial. Carrington was immediately sent to the locker room after her foul was reviewed on the court and elevated to a flagrant 2. Although Fever coach Stephanie White subsequently stated that she did not think Carrington deliberately went for Cunningham's neck, the officials concluded that the contact met the league's criteria for an excessive foul.
Carrington's foul was upgraded to a flagrant 2 on Sophie Cunningham. She was ultimately ejected from the game against the Indiana Fever. Then she takes her to the locker room, and the first thing she does is run to Twitter and say, "White privilege." Where's the white privilege in this? Are you serious? Oh no, you lucky she ain't just knock your ass out. But I will tell you this, you can definitely expect a multiple game suspension from the WNBA. It's the witted wire.
This particular aspect is important since what transpired online was already determined by the internet. The question of whether the play was physical was not being discussed. They were discussing history, discipline, intent, and if the WNBA was dealing with a more serious issue. Carrington's argument followed. And as expected, there were a wide range of responses. While some supporters praised Carrington and claimed she had a valid reason for posting, others were utterly perplexed and questioned how the incident could be seen as racial bias given that the officials had evaluated the play and issued a flagrant 2. When Sophie Cunningham was questioned about it, her response was noticeably more composed than that of the internet. She described the foul as intentional and stated that she thought it was unwarranted. However, she also made a point that both sides of the argument used right away. She thought she deserved to be removed because she had been ejected for a similar foul in the past. Oh, put it another way, Cunningham wasn't really standing there requesting that the league start World War II. "You hit me," she essentially said. The decision was made by the officials. Let's proceed. And in a way, that might have added even more intrigue to the whole thing.
Bonehead, the lady has no idea what she's doing. She's in over her head. She's way over her head when it comes to this job. She needs to go back to being head coaches of teams that nobody really gives a damn about. And it's that simple. Take a listen to Stephanie White defending Djonai Carrington. This is disgusting. If I'm Sophie Cunningham, I'm pissed. My mouth.
Cunningham had no intention of making the scene into a revenge film. She wasn't advocating for a league-wide sanction or for Carrington to be blacklisted. In essence, what she was arguing was that the authorities took care of it, which returned the pressure to the WNBA. What comes next must now be decided by the league. Will Carrington be suspended once more? Will the league decide that the ejection and flagrant 2 were sufficient? Or will the social media controversy be discussed in relation to discipline? Fans are eager to hear the answers to such queries. This is where the narrative transcends Carrington and Cunningham, though. Because Sophie Cunningham doesn't exactly play like someone wanting to escape attention, she has become one of those athletes who seems to draw controversy wherever she goes. She has publicly backed Caitlin Clark, and since Clark plays for Indiana, Fever games can easily gain national attention. All of a sudden, every harsh foul has the potential to make headlines. That is the current climate in which the WNBA operates. Every social media post is examined as if it were evidence in court, every occurrence is repeated, and every response is recorded.
He hit her across the court, bruh. But Sophie Cunningham then turned around and said, hold up, what you do that for, you stupid? See, I would say it, but y'all know I can't say the rest because YouTube be on some, But with all of that being said, we have to look at Djonai Carrington as what she is, and she is a criminal. She needs to be put out of the league now. There needs to be no suspension. She needs to be banned from all WNBA.
The debate doesn't stop when a player enters the tunnel after being expelled. The second game, the social media game, starts at that point. Additionally, Carrington's post ensured that the second game would be fierce, because viewers witnessed two conflicting stories rather than just a flagrant 2. While one team saw a player who thought the ruling revealed a deeper issue, the other team saw a harsh foul that went too far and should have been punished. Then there was a third group that just wanted maximal turmoil and didn't seem to care about either explanation. The fans were there to celebrate the altercation. It becomes uncomfortable at this point. On the internet, some were praising Carrington for the attack and treating Cunningham as though she had somehow lost. The focus was only increased by early reporting. However, Sophie Cunningham has established a reputation for being unafraid of conflict. For many seeing, the collision between Carrington and Cunningham was more than simply another infraction. It turned to become a symbol. Some saw it as a symbol of the Fever's alleged extreme roughness. Others saw it as Carrington's refusal to compromise. For everyone else, it was the most recent WNBA dispute to take center stage on the timeline.
Consequences for her own actions like a grown adult woman could. She did what a ghetto thug would do and played victim. It's never my fault, it is your fault. Once again, Djonai Carrington, she might actually have a mental illness. She's a loose screw at this point. She's a loose screw. You can't have her around a professional environment. You don't know what she's gonna do or what she's going to say. She's been on platforms going down to Alyssa Smith, her former partner, just airing out business, unprofessional. It appears she is.
However, there's another reason why people are reflecting on this occurrence. Carrington and Clark have been embroiled in past disputes, like as the much-discussed 2024 incident in which she touched Clark's eye during a game. Every new incident involving Carrington and an Indiana player will be seen via a much wider lens because of this history. This is problematic because, once a player has a contentious past, every subsequent occurrence is evaluated based not only on what occurred today but also on everything that occurred in the past. We are currently witnessing precisely that. The Cunningham foul isn't only being watched. Old videos, past altercations, Clark, the Fever, social media posts, and the league's disciplinary history are all being brought up. All of a sudden, a single basketball play has been included in a much bigger discussion. Emotions erupt when fast break fouls occur. That's basketball. When contact is perceived as excessive, particularly when the player does not make a valid play on the ball, the issue arises. For this reason, after reviewing Carrington's infraction, the officials enhanced it. Because of this, the league must now determine if the situation warrants anything beyond what transpired during the game.
Flagrant one. But like, it's clearly so obviously flagrant too. Like, she makes no attempt at going for the ball here. She's not even close to the ball. And even if she gets the ball, she closes her elbow and drags her down by the head. She clotheslines her by the head. It is so obviously, it is, even if it's, like, it looks so obviously intentional, even if it's not intentional, it is so reckless that it's a flagrant 2. Doesn't matter.
Cunningham, however, emerged from the dispute with something that no anyone anticipated. She appeared remarkably unaffected. She stated that the contact was not necessary, clarified her stance, and continued to move. That might be the most Sophie Cunningham thing you've ever seen, because she was essentially declaring, "I can handle it," while the internet was engaged in a civil war over her name. And with that, we return to the peculiar reality of the 2026 WNBA. The league is receiving more attention than ever before, but that exposure also brings with it something else. Every disagreement gets more heated, every altercation goes viral, and every participant joins a much wider dialogue. Because whether or not fans believe Carrington should be permanently banned is not the true question. Anything can be demanded by fans. The true question is what the WNBA determines to be the proper penalty after examining the incident and all of its circumstances. You already know what will happen after that choice. Some will argue that the league overreached itself. It didn't go far enough, according to the other. An old clip will be uncovered by someone. Another screenshot will be posted by someone. And someone will start a 3-hour argument over it.
With it, subscribe. Already knowing the regimen and the requirement, make sure that you tap into the With It Wire on all social media platforms. But let's get into this real quick. So I'm watching the game, Sophie Cunningham going on a fast break. And again, Djonai Carrington, you're not going for the ball. You literally went straight for her cranium. So I don't know why you see her screaming white privilege after that. Don't deflect from the malicious, the blatant, and overly aggressive foul that you just created. That again, if the WNBA does not suspend you for multiple games.
And for some reason, by tomorrow morning, a 90-86 basketball game will be more remembered for one collision that caused the WNBA internet to go crazy than for the final score. Because the final buzzer does not always mean the game is over in this league. Sometimes the true drama starts at that point. And just as it appeared that the debate would eventually subside, a different query began to dominate the discussion. What precisely ought to be done next by the WNBA? Because an ejection deals with the immediate situation but may not resolve the more significant problem. The issue with that reasoning, meanwhile, is that a fan's desired punishment and an actual league punishment are two whole different things. The WNBA must evaluate the play, the situation, the player's background, and the relevant regulations. Additionally, the microscope enlarges when Caitlin Clark is involved. The temperature goes up when Sophie Cunningham gets involved. You've got the ideal recipe for another WNBA online sensation when you combine both with a contentious ejection. However, Cunningham's remark is noteworthy. She basically stated that she thought the league will handle it rather than aggravating the situation. She did not turn the post-game interview into a courtroom drama, but she did express her thoughts about the foul. That distinction is important because there is a difference between requesting that someone's career be ruined and stating, "That was unnecessary, and I believe it was intentional." The league must make the final judgment, even though players may be upset, fans may be enraged, and commentators may argue the matter for hours. Carrington now has to deal with whatever happens next. Because the footage of a nationally televised game doesn't vanish when you are ejected. 20 distinct perspectives are used to replay it. Every movement appears 10 times more dramatic in slow motion. Fans add theories, social media adds captions, and all of a sudden one moment becomes the night's defining image. That is the WNBA of today. The trial is conducted online, the basketball game takes place on the court, and the verdict is changed every 5 minutes. Thus, even if people are still debating whether Carrington went too far, one thing is clear. This story won't be going away anytime soon. Because the next announcement from the league has the potential to drastically alter the discourse. The argument will get more heated if there is more discipline. The discussion will go on even if there isn't. Cunningham will probably continue to do what she does best. Show up, play physically, and not give up throughout it all. The tweets might finally vanish into the never-ending social media loop, and the foul and ejection might be finished.